We will start the project planning part of the end-to-end process with the creation of the structure of our energy check project. As you remember, I already created a project when the sales order was created, so I now continue to work with this project. To open the project, I go to the Workcenter Project Management here and select the project's view. I find the project listed in a table, and to start with the creation of the project structure, I select the project and then I click Edit Project Plan. On the Maintain Project screen, I can start defining the project. As you can see, there are various tabs, like the project plan, team and staffing, or products, where I can manage the different aspects of the project. I begin on the Project Plan tab, where I will start setting up the project structure. I can choose between a Gantt chart, a work breakdown structure, or a network diagram to create a project plan. And in our case, I will use the Gantt chart. At first, I change the name. And to do that, let me scroll down a little bit. And down here in the basic data area, I change the name. And I will change it to Energy Check Service Video Training. The project consists of two phases, and the first phase is the project setup phase that I will create now. To do so, I scroll up again, and here I click Add and select Phase. I can enter the name of the phase directly here in the structure. And as I said, the name of the phase is Project Setup. The phase contains of two tasks and one milestone. And the first task I would like to add is the task Project Preparation. And I do that by clicking Add and Task. And then I select the task and click this arrow to ensure that the task is part of the project setup phase. I can now maintain the task's name, which is Project Preparation, and the duration, which is 3 days. The second task I would like to add is the Run Kickoff Meeting task. And again, I can enter the name up here. And also define the duration, which is 1 day, so I don't need to change anything here. The project setup phase will be finished off by a milestone. And so I add this milestone here as well. And this milestone is called Kickoff Meeting. As I already have a draft agenda for the meeting, I want to upload it to the project. To do that, I select the Kickoff Meeting task, go down to the Attachments tab, select Add, File, and in the upcoming Add File screen, I click Browse to browse for the right document, and then add it to the project task. As there's already an order between these two phases and a milestone, I now create the dependencies between them. The project preparation task needs to be finished before the kickoff meeting can take place. So therefore, I select the project preparation task, go down here to Dependencies, and select the dependency needs to be finished to start the next task, which is the Run Kickoff Meeting task. And again, the Run Kickoff Meeting task must be finished before the Kickoff Meeting milestone can take place. So therefore, I select the Run Kickoff Meeting. Down in Dependencies tab, I click Add Row. Again, dependency finished to start. And select the Run Kickoff Meeting milestone. I can now continue with the creation of the second phase. As this is pretty similar to what you just saw, let me finish the creation and you can rejoin me in a moment. Welcome back. In the Gantt chart you see that the entire project structure has been defined. The project consists of two phases and has a total duration of 18 days, which you can see here. The total duration is calculated based on the duration of the different tasks. What you can also see is the red path in the Gantt chart. This is the so-called critical path, which highlights those tasks which must be completed on time for the project to be completed on due date. In addition, a task on the critical path cannot be started until the predecessor task is completed. This means, for example, that if a task is delayed for a day, the entire project will be delayed for a day unless an activity followed by the delayed task is completed a day earlier. The next step is now to plan the required work for the different tasks. To start with this step, I select the first task of the project, Project Preparation, and go down to the Works tab. For the Project Preparation task, I will plan 2 different services, as I will later assign 2 different project members to this task. So let me do that. First, I click Add Row, and then I plan Senior Consultancy. And then I click Add Row again, and also the second service should be Senior Consultancy. The planned work for both is 16 hours. Please note that the top line in yellow is the total number of hours for that particular task, in this case 32. I will now continue to allocate the planned work to the different tasks of the project, and you can again rejoin me in a minute when I have done that. Welcome back. I have now planned the work for the different tasks, and you can see that when I click through the various tasks. So the project preparation we did together. So if I select the project preparation and scroll down, you see the planned work. And if I go, for example, to determine energy consumption and scroll down, you see the planned work for this phase, for this task. Same for equipment check, and the same for create status report, for example. Before I continue with the setup of the project team, I will now plan some travel expenses for being at customer site doing the project. I could either plan the expenses against an individual task or the entire project. In our case, I will plan it against the project, so I select the project header, go down to the Expenses tab, click Add Row. As expense group, I select travel expenses in general, add a description, and I call it simply travel expenses, and a planned amount of 1,500. After I've done that, let me save the project before I continue with the setup of the project team. So let me save it, and now continue with the project team. Now I'm ready to start the project. As I already know that some of the tasks require the service from an external consultant, I will first purchase those services. I mentioned earlier, project management within Business ByDesign is seamlessly integrated in other functional areas of Business ByDesign. This means that I can trigger the purchasing process directly within the project. To do so, I go to the Products tab and select the service that I want to purchase, which is Senior Consultancy Service. I select the service, and then I click Create Purchase Request for whole project. At the new Purchase Request screen, I can see that the service has already been added. I just need to define the quantity that I want to purchase, which is 32 hours. And then I define the service agent, which is Charlie West. And again, the delivery location, which is Almica Heating Cleveland. After I've done that, I can click Finish. And as you can read down here, the purchase request has been created. Please note that the purchase request will not be released until the project is released. As soon as this is done, the purchase request will be transferred into a purchase order and sent to the supplier. Let me again save the project because of the changes that I have made, and now continue with the setup of the project team. To define the project team, I go to the Team and Staffing tab. On the sub-tab Team, I see the current members of the team, which is at the moment just myself. Here I add 3 additional team members. First, I add the external service consultant that I have just purchased, Charlie West. And then I add also my colleague, Tonya Gardner, and last but not least, my colleague Robert Newman. And I also add the committed work by the colleagues. For me, I add 40 hours. Tonya, I will add 40 hours as well. And for Charlie, the purchased 32 hours. Before I add the committed work for Robert, I want to confirm his availability. To do, I click the Show Availability tab. Therefore, I select Robert and click Show Availability. This opens up Robert's availability calendar, and here I can see if he's already booked or maybe overbooked, or if he's available. And I can see he's available for the planned period, so I can close the calendar and add Robert. No, I don't want to change it. Save changes. And add Robert's planned work, which is 80 hours. After this, let me again save the project and continue with the assignment of the team members to the different project tasks. To assign the members of the project team to the project, I go to the sub-tab Staff by Structure. To assign a team member, I select a service for which the team member is not yet named and pick the team member from the drop-down list. So let me do this for the first task, project preparation. Let me select the first service and then go to the drop-down list, select myself, and for the second service, I select Charlie. I will now continue to assign the team members to the different tasks of the project. And as this is pretty similar to what you just saw, you can rejoin me in a minute when I've done that. Welcome back. You can now see that I've added the team members to each of the project tasks. The last step that needs to be done before we can work on the project is to release the project. Therefore, I'll go back to the Project Plan tab and select the project header. And down, I select Basic Data. And here you see the project status. To release the project, I select Start and Release. And confirm, save, and click Save to confirm the release. Please note that as soon as the project is released, related business processes in other areas are triggered. So for example, the purchase request for the external consultant service will now be transferred into a purchase order and sent to the supplier. In addition, time and expenses can now be booked against the project. With that, I'm done with the project planning, and I can close the project, go back to my Launchpad, and continue with the project execution.